After weeks of waiting, we finally got to see Bayley face Becky Lynch inside a steel cage tonight. The longtime rivals were supposed to have this match during Raw's 30, but it was bumped from the show due to timing issues. We also saw more Elimination Chamber qualifying matches for both the men's and women's divisions. Candice LeRae, Piper Niven, Carmella, and Mia Yim battled in a fatal four-way for the final spot in the women's chamber, while the men had two. Montez Ford faced Elias, and Damian Priest took on Angelo Dawkins. Let's take a look at everything that happened on tonight's Raw, for this is Ridiculously Raw. Welcome, everybody, to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube and Streaming.com today. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined, as always, by good old MF Michael Fletcher, and, of course, the Phenom, Michael Bullock, fresh off another one of our legendary Raw chats, as always. And, gentlemen, let's not waste any more time. Let's dive right on into Monday Night Raw this evening, live from the Amway Center in Orlando, Florida, the home of the Orlando Magic. And we started it off with an in-ring segment. The Rated R Superstar Edge, alongside his wife, Beth Phoenix. And Edge and Beth had their words. And gentlemen, we got ourselves a new match for the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view in Montreal, which, boy, howdy, are they building this thing. Oh, my goodness. They're making this the ultimate pit stop on the road to WrestleMania. Holy wowzers. A new one just added here tonight. Gentlemen, Beth Phoenix versus Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley in a mixed tag team match in Montreal. Yeah, we'll gladly take it. No doubt about that. A segment that took a long time to get to Phoenix, laying out the challenge for a mixed tag at Elimination Chamber with Edge and Beth versus Rhea and Finn. And as Judgment Day began to circle the ring for an attack, the Street Profits, well, mainly Angelo Dawkins, made the save. And that led into our first, that Elimination Chamber qualifying matchup. Angelo Dawkins, Damian Priest wins the match, 10 minutes and 55 seconds. I'll tell you, the opening promo in this match took up more than 30 minutes of the first hour of Raw, but the crowd was into it the whole time. Edge and Beth Phoenix are popular enough to keep the WWE Universe invested, and the battle between Dawkins and Priest was a high-energy battle between two big men who can also move with a lot of speed. Despite some big moves from Dawkins, Damian Priest was able to secure the win to earn his spot inside the elimination. The way Montez Ford came up behind Dominic Mysterio to scare him was hilarious. The pounce Dawkins used to send Priest over the announce table would make the alpha male Monty Brown proud. The promo from Edge and Beth Phoenix was a bit too long for what they needed to say, but that is kind of a hallmark of Edge's generation. We used to get so many more long promos than we do these days. Dawkins continues to improve and make a name for himself. Everyone has Ford pegged as the breakout star of their team, but Dawkins is going to be just fine on his own. And Dawkins hit a pretty nice swanton bomb that would make Jeff Hardy pretty proud, if I'm going to be honest with you. And but there was one thing that happened during that promo segment that really stood out, not just for me, but also for Michael Bullock, and who knows, maybe it stood out for MF as well. Beth Phoenix glam slammed Dominic Mysterio. What? You kidding me? The most impressive thing we've seen a woman do to a man since Rhea Ripley body slammed Doc Gallows a few months ago. I mean, my goodness, what a moment. So, and the look on Dominic's face with that glam, that's all I can say. So, for the match, I'd probably give the match about 3.25, teetering on 3.5. So that's all I can honestly say about it. Promo was a solid promo segment. So not much more to say here. So good old MF, Michael Fletcher, come on in. Damian Priest defeats Angelo Dawkins, 10 minutes and 55 seconds. Priest now in the chamber match, and the opening promo, Dom getting glam slammed by the Glamazon. But more importantly, we got Edge and Beth going up against Finn and Rhea in Montreal.
Yeah, there's a lot to dissect and a lot to decipher here. First off, I want to say that at least for the match, I think it was a no big surprise, and I do believe that that's going to be pretty interesting to see. The match itself was pretty good. I'll probably give this about maybe 3 stars. To see Damian Priest go over and now he's in the Elimination Chamber, no big surprise. Good match, solid battle, and I truly believe that he deserves to be in it. Now, as far as the glam slam that Dominic received by Beth Phoenix, in one way, it was perfect. The story says it for itself. Dominic got his comeuppance. He deserved to get that. However, I think this is going to trigger off Rhea in a way that I think we're about to see a massacre in Montreal. And the reason why I'm saying this is Rhea is on the road to WrestleMania to prove to the world that she is the best. She's fighting the Queen, Charlotte Flair, for the SmackDown Women's title at WrestleMania SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California, in LA. In order to give her the momentum she needs, she not only has to win that match, she needs to make a statement to Charlotte Flair, to the WWE Universe, and to every wrestling fan around the world. Pardon my language, because I know this is a family show, and I promise this will be the only time I'm going to use, not so PG language. So, Anthony, I apologize in advance. She needs to prove that she is the baddest bitch in all of WWE. She needs to not only beat down Beth Phoenix, she's got to make her pay for what she did to Dominic tonight. She needs to send a message to Charlotte Flair that your days as SmackDown Women's Champion is going to be numbered at WrestleMania. So, even though I enjoyed that moment and I thoroughly loved what I saw, when I saw that moment, when I saw what happened, I was thinking, when Rhea finds out, when Rhea hears what happened to Dom, I can rest assure you one thing. It is going to be the worst mistake Beth Phoenix has ever done in her WWE career. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to leave it out there. And I'm just going to put the table on it for now when we have to talk about the fight when we get to the preview show for Elimination Chamber. Bullock, I give it to you.
Well, all I can say is I enjoyed that moment. I mean, Dominic Mysterio, he had this coming because of all the terrible things he's done, especially with what he did to Rey Mysterio on the 2 most important holidays of the year, Thanksgiving and Christmas. You knew some point in time he was going to get his comeuppance, and he got it tonight at the hands of Beth Phoenix. And I'll tell you this, Fletch and Florio, And Fletch, you even said that Rhea Ripley is going to be pissed and she's going to make Beth Phoenix pay. Well, I'm going to tell you this right now. Beth Phoenix is not going to be afraid of Rhea Ripley. She is going to bring the fight to Rhea. And she's like, you know what? I want you to, if you're going to beat me, I want you at your best. Because if you show signs of any weakness, Rhea, I'm going to take advantage of it one way or the other. This promo was just absolutely spot on. I cannot wait for this this mixed tag to go down at Elimination Chamber. I mean, this Elimination Chamber pay-per-view is, or premium live event, is already shaping up to be something really good. Well, we'll talk about it later when we tell you it's going to get even more interesting. So that's all I'm going to say on that. And as far as the match goes, I'll give it 3.25 stars. I mean, the outcome was never in doubt. Damian Priest, I mean, he advances. He goes to the Elimination Chamber. I mean, Angelo Dawkins definitely put up one hell of an effort here, but the right man, I think, went over on this one. So nothing more to say. It is yours, Florio.
Yeah, and Bullock and I, when Bullock and I saw Dom get that glam slam, boy howdy, we couldn't stop laughing. We were having a laugh riot out of this. So, anyways, let's move on here. We have Dexter Lumis squaring off against Baron Corbin. Dexter Lumis wins the match, 3 minutes and 15 seconds. And shortly after this segment, JBL walked away from Baron Corbin. Looks like the Corbin JBL experiment has come to an end. So, yeah. So, I would probably say bye. Clean finish. It was a clean finish to a relatively basic match. Both men looked good with what they did. They just didn't do much. So, we're gonna bypass that. All right. Now, you heard what Bullock said about how they made this Elimination Chamber pay-per-view even bigger. Well, we've already got the 2 Elimination Chamber matches. We got the men's chamber match for the United States Heavyweight Championship. We got the women's Elimination Chamber match to determine who would be the number 1 contender for Bianca Belair in the Raw Women's Championship for WrestleMania. Friday night on SmackDown, we added Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn for the Undisputed Universal Championship. Earlier tonight, we added Edge and Finn Balor versus, or I should say, Edge and Beth Phoenix versus Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley in a mixed tag. You think it couldn't get any bigger than those 4 matches? Wrong, because it does. Brock Lesnar comes out. He cuts a promo. He called out Bobby Lashley. And guess what, guys? Brock Lesnar, he says, inside of my $5 denim jacket here was a multi-million-dollar contract for a match. Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley, not at WrestleMania, at Elimination Chamber. Yup. Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley, Elimination Chamber. MF, when you hear that match added to the card we already have, is it enough to say your legendary catchphrase on this?
I was stunned because I honestly thought they were going to save this for Mania. But to get it on the road to WrestleMania in Montreal for Elimination Chamber, yo, that is, like you said, they're going all out for this event. This is, without a doubt, the best fight card we've ever had. Just Elimination Chamber shows ever. This is a mini WrestleMania that they're loading it with. We thought the card for Rumble was incredible. This is even better than Rumbles going in. Because you got the men's chamber for the US that's gonna exponentially solidify the greatness of that belt. You got the women's chamber that's gonna solidify who's gonna face Bianca Belair at WrestleMania for the Raw Women's title. So you got that. You got those two going crazy. Then you got the mixed tag and the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. And now this? I can't believe it, man. This is unreal what it's going to do. I know you want me to say it. I'm not going to say it tonight. I will save it. But I will definitely say it is worth those words. It is worth the I guess you could say it's 4 or 5 words, the legendary 4 words. That is it 4 or is it 5?
6, maybe
6
7.
words.
6, maybe
No.
7.
Huh?
6, maybe 7.
I believe it's 7, but
If you
I
throw
can't
the damn
say
in
it.
there.
Huh?
If you throw the damn in there.
Yeah. Well, I don't put the damn in there. I always say bleep bleep and bleep mom and you know. So it's 6 words. But yeah. But oh man, this is gonna be awesome, man. This is gonna be something else. I can't wait. I cannot believe they pulled the trigger on this one and they're gonna do it at Chamber and not at a Mania. But you know what? That must mean that they got something even bigger down the line. Is it possible? There was a rumor about maybe Gunther versus Lesnar at Mania. That match might now actually happen. Oh my God, if it does. So there's really nothing more to add. This is gonna be something. Yeah. Anthony, it's yours. I mean, Michael Bullock is yours. Sorry.
How about it, Bullock? What about it?
Oh man, I mean, you thought Elimination Chamber couldn't get any bigger? It did. I mean, we thought Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar was going to go down at WrestleMania. But no, we're getting it on the road to WrestleMania. I mean, you get these two in the same ring at Elimination Chamber. All I can say is, Fletch and Florio, you're going to need the 82nd Airborne to try to control these two monsters. I mean, if tonight was the first indication of what we're going to see in Elimination Chamber, all I can say is and I'll even say it, I mean, this could have the potential to top Sheamus and Gunther as one of the greatest BMF fights ever. I'm saying it has the chance. Whether it actually does or not remains to be seen. But I cannot wait for this to go down. And then the big question is, what's going to happen with Lesnar at WrestleMania? And if you put Lesnar and Gunther in there, and I'll even say it, and with your permission, Fletch, I'll say it for you, if that's okay.
Go ahead. I give you permission.
If you get Gunther and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, shut up and take my damn money. That's all I'll say. If you put these two at Mania. But this match at Elimination Chamber, it's going to be an old-fashioned Donnybrook. It's going to be Smash Mouth, and I feel for whoever's going to be the referee for this match. as I give it to you, Florio.
Well, I'll say it like this. It's very exciting. It definitely makes the card even bigger. And MF is absolutely right. He nailed it. He nailed it right on the head. They're turning this into a mini WrestleMania. For so many years, we've gotten these B pay-per-views, which for a lot of times, for so many times, we would call them, pointless and unnecessary. Not this one. Oh, no. Oh, no. But let me say it like this, though. Great thoughts all around. But the only realistic way we get Lesnar and Lashley at WrestleMania, despite this, is if the match never happens. They could set it up where both of these men, are so hell-bent on destroying each other that the match doesn't happen. Then they'd have to save it for Mania. That's the only realistic way that would happen. But if we do get the match and we get that decisive outcome, perhaps Gunther and Lesnar is possible. But the thing is, Gunther is the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion. He would most likely have to lose that title before WrestleMania, which could happen. Then what would happen to the Intercontinental Championship when it comes to WrestleMania? That's something we're definitely going to have to think about. It's a lot to think about, I know. But
The one thing I could think of that's become a staple for WrestleMania.
ladder match?
Why not a ladder match for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship? I mean, it's become tradition, and
31 and 32.
I know WWE was hinting about maybe doing a tribute to Scott Hall, and maybe this is the way to do it, because there was some rumors about that Uncle Trips was thinking about doing like a invitational style match to do a tribute to Scott Hall's memory. Why not do a ladder match for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship?
Very real. That is a very realistic possibility, MF. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing that as well. I mean, Scott Hall, we all remember WrestleMania 10, him and Shawn, Madison Square Garden. They stole the dang show. The last when it comes to WrestleManias, that might have been the only WrestleMania that featured 2 5-star classic matches on the same night. That match, as well as Bret and Owen, which many people are still calling to this day the greatest opening match in the history of any wrestling promotion, pay-per-view, what have you. But that's a story for another day. But it's very exciting to think about. I mean, and by the way, Lesnar and Lashley next Monday night on Raw at the Barclays in Brooklyn. They're going to sign
That ain't gonna end well.
That's right, JBL. It ain't going to end well. Lesnar and Lashley in the same ring at the same time for a contract signing at the Barclays in Brooklyn. Yikes. Batten down the hatches. That is all there is to say.
All I can say is you're going to need the 82nd Airborne. You're going to need security for this contract signing, because after what we saw tonight, when Lesnar F5 Bobby Lashley
twice,
2 times, Bobby Lashley is going to be one pissed off almighty.
Oh yeah.
And when you got that and an angry Lesnar, oh man, I don't even know if the security or even the 82nd Airborne will be able to contain these two.
Well, we're just gonna have to wait and find out. I mean, it is most certainly exciting to think about, but wow, as if you couldn't make us any more excited for this pay-per-view than you already have. I mean, I was excited about Roman and Sammy alone, but you got the 2 chamber matches, the mixed tag, and now this. Whoa. They're not, Papa H and the crew, they ain't messing around. So that's all there is to say there. All right. the women's Elimination Chamber qualifying match, Piper Niven versus Candice LeRae versus Michin versus Carmella. Carmella wins the match, 9 minutes and 45 seconds. So Bullock, we have our 6. We got Raquel Rodriguez, we got Asuka, we got Liv Morgan, we got Nikki Cross, we got Natalya, and now we have Carmella. One of those 6 will battle Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship on the grandest stage of them all, SoFi Stadium, WrestleMania 39.
And like you said, the field is now set thanks to Carmella basically getting the win here. I mean, she really didn't do a lot of offense here in this match. I mean, basically taking advantage of some of the things that Michin or Piper Niven or even what Candice was doing. Yeah, so I'm gonna give this about 2.5 stars. I mean, it could have been better, but it was fine for what it was. And yeah, of course, this was Carmella's first match in 7 months, and of course, well, you know the whole story of her absence. I'm not even gonna get into it, so because it's a personal matter. But anywho, yeah. So there's really nothing more for me to say. It is yours, Florio. 2.5 stars is my rating.
I'm gonna bump that up. Actually, I'm gonna go a little bit. I'm going to give it a smidgen higher rating than you both. I'm going to give it about 3, maybe 3.25. Because I thought it ended up being an entertaining 4-way match with a handful of spots that popped the crowd. Piper Niven had a great showing, but Candice LeRae may have been the most impressive with some of her high-flying antics. Carmella is so much better as the Princess of Staten Island. She seems more comfortable and more charismatic. Piper Niven getting her name back is going to lead to more people calling for Pete Dunne to ditch the Butch name as well. Piper hitting all 3 women with a splash at the same time was an awesome spot. And Corey Graves referred to Mella as his wife, which is pretty rare. He usually plays coy about their relationship while he is on commentary, but he went there on that tonight. So a solid 3, maybe 3.25 for this effort. Mella is money, and that's all I can say. No more of this self-proclaimed most beautiful woman, and no more of that mask nonsense. So 3.25. Mella rounds out the field. So MF, I think it's safe to say we got the Carmella that you fell in love with live.
Yeah, this is kind of in a way, the NXT Mella. This is the Mella that she started to be when she actually became the SmackDown Women's Champion. This was the Mella that we were talking about. So for her to get the moment, for her to get this victory, great win for her. And yeah, I think was it something that we thought? No, not really. But hey, Mella gets the opportunity. She's going to the Elimination Chamber, and now she gets a shot and a date with Destiny to possibly be the number 1 contender for the Raw Women's title at WrestleMania. But she's got to beat 5 other women. And just like how we talked about Natalya being the long shot, I think Carmella is definitely a long shot in this one. The 3 obvious choices to me that could win it all is Liv, Asuka, obviously the odds-on favorite, and Raquel Rodriguez. So other than that, that's it. Nothing more to say. Florio, it's yours.
And next Monday night on Raw in Brooklyn, for at least one night only, we're bringing back Raw versus SmackDown because we're going to have a 6-woman tag team match. Asuka will team up with Carmella and Nikki Cross to take on Raquel Rodriguez, Natalya, and Liv Morgan. It's going to be Raw versus SmackDown in that 6-woman tag next Monday night at the Barclays. So, not much more to say on that. So we move on now. Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin, the Hurt Business, back together. They went up against the Alpha Academy, Chad Gable and Otis. And you noticed MVP was out there with Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin And Alexander and Benjamin win the match in an even 5 minutes. So, yeah, probably about 2.25 to 2.5 for this. After a decent fight, I'll tell you what, guys. Alexander and Gable started off with a fast-paced exchange that ended when Gable hit a beautiful German suplex to counter a handspring from Alexander. Both teams had a short period of being in control, but this bout was all about reestablishing Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin as a viable tag team. After a decent fight, Cedric Alexander hit the lumbar check on Chad Gable to score the win, and then MVP came into the ring to celebrate. And you notice during that backstage segment when JBL told Corbin, "I'm done," you noticed MVP, Benjamin, and Alexander were shaking hands in the background. And the way Chad Gable grabbed Cedric Alexander in midair and hit a German suplex was so impressive. But the way he caught Alexander during a dive through the ropes was even more impressive. And the way Otis manhandles people is truly impressive. He looks like he lifts 200 plus pounds like it's nothing. I'm going to give this about 2.25 to 2.5. Call it a fun little sprint here. So, MF, it looks like business is booming once again for the Hurt Business. MVP getting Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin back together, and they defeat the Alpha Academy in 5 minutes.
Yeah, pretty impressive. Nothing more to say. 2.25, 2.5. I agree with that. I thought they did a solid job with it. So really, nothing more to add. Bullock, is yours.
Yeah, 2.25, 2.5. I can definitely go with that. Yeah, an impressive win for Benjamin and Cedric Alexander. I mean, they looked impressive here. So nothing more to say. It's yours, Florio.
Yep. So we move on now to well, I do have to make an indemnity on scoring on one of the matches. I said one match was by default the worst fight of the night previously. No, I stand corrected. That match was the second worst fight of the night. The worst fight of the night is coming up right here and now. As it was Asuka squaring off against Chelsea Green. And just bear with me for a moment that my things keep going in and out on me. Yeah. Chelsea Green. This obviously was not much of a match. Now, they're making Chelsea Green into a stereotypical Karen type character. I mean, not, but anyways, it was Asuka again. 2.5 minutes. Obviously, this was a dud. This was obviously the worst fight of the night. But you did notice that all of the women who qualified for the women's chamber match, as you know, Chelsea looked surprisingly good in the early minutes, and then Chelsea ran her mouth and all this other stuff. But obviously, it wasn't much of a match. But it served the story to some degree. I mean, Chelsea wasn't supposed to have much of a fighting chance here, so the way this was booked made it exciting. So there isn't really much more to say on that. Being vocally anti-Chelsea Green was strange because he usually roots for the heels. And this new look Asuka. I mean, I am loving this new look Asuka. I mean, her face paint may be the coolest in professional wrestling today. All right. Then we had the winner of the men's Royal Rumble match and the man who will challenge for the undisputed Universal Championship at WrestleMania, Cody Rhodes. He comes out, he cut the promo, and was interrupted by Paul Heyman. And then these two had an exchange, MF, that, as I give it to you to start this off, an exchange worthy, more than worthy, of being the segment of the night. What a segment with Cody and Heyman tonight. Oh, my goodness. Wow.
You know what? It doesn't get any better than this. The storyline says the whole thing. it gives us what we needed heading into WrestleMania. We know Cody and Roman is the main event right now. That's going to be the match that we're going to be looking at. And at the end of the day, this is exactly what it needed it to be. So, to me, I don't mind it. I enjoyed it, to say the very least. And yeah, there's really nothing more to add. I think it was as good as you're going to get. Enjoyable, yes. Fun, absolutely. But then once you got everything going, it just took it to a whole new level, a whole new, everything. So Heyman, money on the mic. Cody, absolutely amazing in his body of work. I enjoyed it. I loved it. And there's really nothing more to add. So yeah, Anthony, Michael Bullock, segment of the night. It's yours.
Yeah, this was the segment of the night. I mean, and this is only the first build to their undisputed WWE Universal title match at Mania. I can only imagine what the weeks and months leading up to the match are going to be like when with these. I mean, especially after this promo here. I mean, both of them were just awesome. I mean, Heyman awesome as always, and Cody just saying how this has now become personal now after what Heyman said about, of course, his family. So, I mean, this is how you build towards a WrestleMania caliber match. So, segment of the night, it is yours, Florio.
An outstanding verbal segment that was absolutely rooted in reality. Paul Heyman's line about Roman Reigns being the son that Dusty always wanted was great. And Cody's fiery response was perfect. This was excellent television. Go out of your way to see this segment because this was absolute money. We always talk about how great Paul Heyman is on the mic. He did it again tonight. Playing up the history. I mean, because let's not forget, there's a lot of history with Paul Heyman and Dusty Rhodes. And Heyman even and Cody even brought up a time where Paul Heyman invited Dusty to ECW, I guess, to have a confrontation with Steve Corino. And I'm sure MF probably remembers that. So oh my goodness, what a segment. Very well done, to say the very least. And the exchange between Paul Heyman and Cody Rhodes, in my opinion, was one of the best things we have seen on Raw in months. And the Tribal Chief wasn't even a part of it. Go figure. Wow. The final men's Elimination Chamber qualifying match. It was Montez Ford versus Elias. And Montez Ford wins the match, 10 minutes and 25 seconds. Michael Bullock, biggest win of Montez Ford's singles career. Could it lead to an even bigger win in Montreal?
Yeah, definitely the biggest win for Montez Ford in his singles career. It could definitely lead to bigger things as he now is in the Elimination Chamber and has a chance to walk out of the Elimination Chamber event United States champion. So, will it happen? We'll just have to wait and find out. But I'll give this about another 3.25, maybe teetering on 3.5 with this. I mean, I enjoy this match. I mean, great work by both men. A great battle here. So, nothing more to say. It is yours, Florio.
Yeah. When it was time for the match, Austin Theory was sitting with the commentary team to watch the match for himself. Elias had a bit of a power advantage, but that was offset by Montez Ford's superior speed and agility. It had a bit of a slow start, but they picked up the pace after the break to make this a solid performance. Ford scored the win with a massive frog splash. Theory was, and then the obvious highlight of the match was Montez Ford's tope con hilo over the turnbuckle. Always impressive, to say the very least. So, and to sum up the promo segment with Cody and Heyman, it was outstanding, and the crowd was eating out of the palms of their hands. So, just wanted to put that to bed. So, another 3 to 3.25 stars for this effort. So with that, MF, Montez Ford going to the Elimination Chamber, opportunity of a lifetime. He's got a chance to become the United States heavyweight champion inside the Elimination Chamber. So, MF, your thoughts? MF, are you there? All right. Probably gonna have to wait for MF to. I'm sure MF probably stepped away for a moment. So, okay, there's MF. All right. MF Montez Ford defeating Elias in 10:25 to secure the final spot for that men's U.S. title chamber.
Yeah, and you know what? I think Montez is going to become a star because of it too. I don't think he's going to win it all, but I think we're going to see what everybody's been talking about, how Montez could be a great singles wrestler. Well, now we're going to get to see it. We're going to get to find out if it is true or not. But yeah, this was incredible. Great way to great matchup. I said about 2.5 stars for me, so nothing more to say, gentlemen. It's yours.
All right, and we move on to the main event of the evening. But before we get to that, some announcements when it comes to next Monday night's go-home show for the Elimination Chamber, which will be live from the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar will sign the contract for the Elimination Chamber. Asuka, Nikki Cross, and Carmella to square off against Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, and Natalya in a 6-woman tag match, Raw versus SmackDown. And The Miz is going to have double duty because not only is The Miz going to be getting a return match against Rick Boogs, he's also going to be hosting Miz TV, and The Miz's special guest will be none other than Seth freaking Rollins. So that ought to be very interesting, to say the least. Main event of the evening, the match we've all been waiting for, inside the 15-foot-high steel temper cage. The man, Becky Lynch, squaring off against Bayley. And when all was said and done, the winner of the match, 15 minutes and 15 seconds, Becky Lynch, but she didn't do it by herself. Oh, no, she had help. Hall of Fame help. Lita, the original fiery redhead, long before Becky Lynch was the fiery redhead of this generation. In our generation, back in the Attitude Era, there was a fiery redhead of our own, and her name was Amy Dumas, better known as Lita Lovely Lita. And Becky Lynch wins the match via the manhandle slam pinfall, 15 minutes, 15 seconds. Without a doubt, this was the fight of the night. Usually we frown upon interference here, but this is one time I'm actually okay with it because hello, it's a cage match. There are no rules really, so I'm gonna give this 4 stars mainly because of the Lita surprise. Now, Michael Bullock told me that he had read and heard dirt sheets about Lita being in Orlando. I didn't get any wind of that, so I know we'll probably get into that a little bit more in a moment, but nonetheless, what a moment. And I'm going to throw an interesting little theory at you boys in just a moment. But first, let me do my traditional analysis here. They made this feel like a personal fight with their promos earlier in the show and the build to it over the last couple of weeks. And the way they were acting inside the ring furthered that narrative. They went from 0 to 60 in no time. They were throwing each other into the cage and beating the life out of each other within a few minutes of referee Sean Bennett calling for the bell. Both women were working their butts off to make this a cage match worthy of being a Monday Night Raw main event. And they succeeded and passed with flying colors. This was hard-hitting and well-paced. They had enough time to make this fun without feeling drawn out. And Io Sky climbed to the side of the cage to prevent Becky from escaping while Dakota Kai threw one of her crutches into Bayley. And then just then, Lita's music hit. She ran down to take out Dakota and Io to even the odds. Lita slammed the door in Bayley's face and knocked her back into Lynch's arms with a manhandle slam. And then the man and Lita, celebrated in the ring to end the show on a high note. 4 stars. Bayley was really throwing her body into it when Lynch would toss her into the cage. Becky drop kicking the cage to get Bayley to lose her bounce looked good, but it still seemed like a weird choice when she could have just tripped Bayley with her hands. And the bump Becky took when she took the Bayley to belly from the middle rope looked rough. But other than that, great main event, outstanding. The Lita surprise, the surprise appearance of Lita, put it over the top. Solid 4 stars. And all right, now I'm going to throw a little theory out at you. You know you have 3 of Damage Control. You've got Bayley, and you've got the women's tag team champions, Dakota Kai and Io Sky. Becky was all alone, but now she's got herself an ally. She's got herself one hell of an ally in Lita. And you remember, and Michael Bullock and I, we talked about it as we were ending our Raw chat tonight. Becky and Lita have come full circle because remember, it was at this time 1 year ago when Lita and Becky were going at it for the Raw Women's Championship in Saudi Arabia at the Elimination Chamber. And they've come full circle. So here's the scenario. You've got Damage Control. It makes me wonder, guys. Are they possibly setting up Damage Control versus Becky Lynch, Lita, and I don't know, Trish Stratus for a possible 6th woman? Maybe at Mania? Food for thought.
I could see it. Especially because if you're going to get Lita, then you got to get her bestie.
Yes.
Her frenemy.
Yep.
You have to.
Yes.
Lita and Trish are bounded together. There's no way you can break that bond.
Yeah, right.
And to bring Becky Lynch to that scenario, I mean, there's no much more that you can talk about. It's a foregone conclusion.
And here's another thing. Why Trish Stratus is the obvious choice. Because remember when Trish Stratus was on Monday Night Raw when I think it was in Toronto, right?
Mm-hmm.
And who confronted Trish Stratus?
Bayley and Damage Control.
So
Right.
you put 2 and 2 together. You got Becky Lynch and Lita and Trish. It all makes sense for this to go down. And what better way to do it than at WrestleMania?
Just some food for thought there, guys. I
think it makes sense. I think it makes sense.
Indeed, it does. Well, we'll get more into it in just a moment, but let me put my thought to bed here. Solid 4 stars. Fight of the night. MF. Michael Bullock may have heard the rumblings about it, but I didn't hear any rumblings of Lita.
I heard no rumblings whatsoever. I was just as stunned as you were, Florio. I did not hear anything about Lita even being in Orlando, Florida. For her to show up, that was a pleasant surprise. That caught me off guard. So that if we were doing the commentary, me and Floyo would have done the infamous Corey and Sean, the gasp, and it is time. It would have been Floyo doing the infamous what? And then I would have been like, oh my god, and yeah, we would have had some fun with that. So, the only person who I wish is here right now would have been the Twisted Angel Dee Woodson. Because we know how much she loves the Lita. Just as much as she loves the Hardys. So I want her thoughts right now if we had it. I honestly want to feel her emotion. I know she probably is working and everything else. You know, she's got life outside of our business. And hey, by all means, I would. But tonight would have been the perfect night if we had her on the show, because God, would I want to get her thoughts, pick her brain right about now, because we know how big of a Lita fan she is. And oh my goodness, what a moment is all I can say. And yeah, this is going to get even crazier now. So nothing more to say. 4 stars, fight of fight of the night. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Bullock, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay.
For some reason, I thought I pushed the button, but I guess I didn't. So, yeah, 4 stars, fight of the night. I mean, what can you say about it? I mean, this was a damn good match here. I mean, normally we frown upon interferences, but this one here was necessary and acceptable, especially when he got a Hall of Famer like Lita. So, yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. Let's get into our overall thoughts on this edition of Raw.
And good old MF Michael Fletcher starts it off. Another week during the road to WrestleMania, another newsworthy show. Last week was newsworthy. This week, just as newsworthy. MF started off.
Excellent Monday Night Raw. It was what it needed it to be. The steel cage match. Yes, we lost it out 2 weeks ago, and I know a lot of people were pissed. Once again, Triple H is like, I'm sorry. I know we messed up. I know we promised you the match and we didn't deliver. If you give me a minute, I promise you we'll do right by you guys. We will do right. Sure enough, they did us right. Hunter, thank you for giving us that fight. Thank you for doing that for us. And that was amazing. The whole show was excellent. There were some down moments. I'm not going to be too hard on it. But all in all, 8 out of 10. Excellent Monday Night Raw. Well done. Florio, take a bow for the Red Brand. They killed it in Old Town tonight. And now the go home at Barclays next week. We already know they do really well on Monday Night Raw at Barclays. We already know they do really well at Barclays. So it's going to be great. Nothing more to say. Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, what did you give it, Fletch?
He gave it 8.
Yeah, I'm going to give this an 8 as well. I mean, another newsworthy edition of Raw. I mean, yeah, had some good matches. A couple matches could have been better, but yeah, I mean, Elimination Chamber is starting to come into focus now as we continue the road to Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania. So next week's go home is definitely going to be a big one. So we'll wait and see what happens. So Florio, give us your thoughts, and then we'll get into your Tony's take.
Yes, sir. Loaded show with Brock Lesnar, Edge, Beth Phoenix, and Lita all appearing. The Cody Rhodes and Paul Heyman verbal exchange was special. The Elimination Chamber qualifiers and the announcement of Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar made it a newsworthy show and then some for the second week in a row. 8 out of 10, no question about it. Rating is absolutely perfect. So I don't know what else there is for me to say on it, except let's get into real quick my Tony's take for this evening. You know how Impact Wrestling as well as NXT Level Up, and let's not waste any more time, boys. Let's dive on in as I try to find it in my notes here. All right, here we go. Okay, I think I got it here. Okay. All right. Oh, I think having a small little issue here. All right, here we go. Now I got it. We started it off with with Ace Austin and Chris Bay of the Bullet Club squaring off against Kevin Knight and Kushida. Ace Austin and it was Ace Austin and Chris Bay winning the match 9 minutes and 25 seconds. 3 to 3.25 stars. This was the kind of match that regularly opens Impact a good chunk of the time, and they made it work here. The club has become a very nice team who can almost make anything work, and they did it again last Thursday. Beating Kushida, even without pinning him, is a big deal, and I could go with the club getting a bigger spot. What happened during this match? Chris Bay hit the Art of Finesse, hit his finishing move on Kevin Knight on the apron, one of the sickest spots you will ever see. Try to find it. It was insane, let me tell you. Giselle Shaw went up against Savannah Evans. Giselle Shaw wins the match. 8 minutes and 24 seconds. 2.5, 2 3/4. Shaw's doing something with the Black Widow thing, and it makes sense for her to win here. If nothing else, she's getting more of a character, and that's something that has been lacking for a long time. Match wasn't very good, but at least it went the right way. Crazy Steve against Sheldon Jean. Crazy Steve in 2 minutes and 25 seconds. That was a dud. That was the worst fight of the night. Another in-ring segment with Bully Ray interrupted by Mickie James. And then Tommy Dreamer comes out and the Good Hands come out. And next week, Mickie James and Tommy Dreamer are going to team up against the Good Hands. Johnny Swinger against Kenny King. Kenny King wins in 1:43. Another dud. Another one of the worst fights of the night. And then the main event, an 8-man tag team match. World Heavyweight Champion Josh Alexander, his challenger at No Surrender, that is Rich Swann, along with Frankie Kazarian and Yuya Uemura. They went up against Callahan and the Design. And it was Callahan and the Design, 16 minutes and 45 seconds, winning the match. Fight of the night here, 4 to 4.25 stars. It was a weird one as they did a lot of the stuff right, but it didn't do anything to make us more interested in seeing Swan Alexander. If nothing else, it was more about Callahan and the Design, which is hardly a story we need to see keep going. Completely decent, if not pretty good, 8-man main event, but not sure how much it accomplished, but it was a fun match for the most part. 6.5 to 7 out of 10. It was kind of a weird show as it built towards a bunch of stuff, but I'm not sure how interesting most of it's going to be. The majority of the show's big angles were Callahan and the Design and Mickie James, Tommy Dreamer versus Bully Ray. That sounds like something you might get from a random match generator rather than a regular show. But Impact has actually earned the benefit of the doubt lately. Not a bad show, but I would have to say maybe a skippable one, if I'm being honest. So not much more for me to add on it. So as soon as I can find it here. All right. The set the table for this week's show. Mickie James and Tommy Dreamer against John Skyler and Jason Hotch. Bully Ray is banned from ringside. Joe Henry will defend the Digital Media Championship against Matt Cardona. Knockouts Tag Team Champions, the Death Dolls, will take on Killer Kelly and Taylor Wilde in a non-title match. Jordan Grace against Steph DeLander. Now, let me tell you, Steph DeLander was Persia Parada from NXT. Persia Parada is now in Impact Wrestling, and she's going to go up in her first match. She's going to take on Jordan Grace. Brian Myers and Dirty Dango will square off in a qualifying match for the 4-way at No Surrender, as well as PCO and Mahabali Shera. The No Surrender 4-way match will determine the next number 1 contender to the Impact World Heavyweight Championship. The other 2 qualifiers will feature Steve Macklin versus Rhino and Eddie Edwards versus Heath Slater. So that all goes down this Thursday night on Impact Wrestling on Access TV and all the other platforms. So with that, let's quickly get into NXT Level Up, and then we'll obviously call it a night here. So all right. Sol Ruka went up against Lash Legend, and Sol Ruka wins the match, 6 minutes, 46 seconds. Hey, great match. Props to both ladies as they brought fun stuff here, as this was easily the best match that I've seen from either woman. Solid 3 stars for the effort. Very fun little sprint. Javier Bernal against Oba Femi. Javier Bernal in 4 minutes and 39 seconds. It was a super basic match here, which was fine. Femi used his power and Bernal cheated to win. It was all right. 2 stars. And then Brooks Jensen and Josh Briggs went up against Zion Quinn and Bronco Nima. Briggs and Jensen in 4:49. I wasn't a fan of that one. It was a super quick tag formula bout. Heat segment was okay, but the ending seemed rushed. It was okay in spots. I just never really got into it. Neither did the crowd. 1.5. But I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. And the opener made it a good show, and it was a pleasant surprise as it blew away the other two matches. The rest was about what you can expect from this show, which is fine. Definitely check out that opener just to see how Sol Ruca and Lash Legend are improving. So 7 out of 10 for that. And with that, that will put the bow on this edition of Ridiculously Raw. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in as always. I'm sure MF will tell me that it's the usual start times for the shows this week, MF.
Yeah, basically, we're going to be doing Wednesday Night Madness at 10:30 Eastern. Our Super Bowl preview is at 10:30 as well. And then on Friday
11.
is at 11. Yep.
And that's it. So, all right. So let's run it down. We'll next be with you Wednesday night over on MF's channel, BraceFan 95, for another edition of Wednesday Night Madness, as we will review NXT, the Fallout from Vengeance Day. Bayley's going to be on the show. Ding Dong Hello. And her special guests are going to be Toxic Attraction, Gigi Dolan and JC James. So very interesting to see how that plays out. And, of course, we begin the road to Stand and Deliver. And then, of course, AEW Dynamite. We'll get into that on Wednesday, 10:30. Thursday night at 10:30 here on the Tone 25. Our first big TXN Sports World show of the year. Our complete, comprehensive preview of Super Bowl 57, featuring the AFC champion Kansas City Chiefs and the NFC champion Philadelphia Eagles. Break down every nook and cranny of that game on Thursday night. Friday night, 11 p.m. over on MF's channel, BraceFan 95, the Cerebral Smack Talk, as we will review Friday night SmackDown and AEW Rampage. And then come right back here next Monday night as it will be Ridiculously Raw, where we will review the Go Home Show, Monday Night Raw's Go Home Show for the Elimination Chamber, and my newest Tony's Take on Impact Wrestling and NXT Level Up. So that's it. So until Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Madness over on MF channel, BraceFan 95. This is Anthony Florio here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, the Phenom Michael Bullock, and of course, always and forever, the first lady of this show, the Twisted Angel Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed couple of days. And until Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Madness, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. And remember, my friends, no matter what anyone tells you, beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long, and bye, everybody. Bye.